And the terms of the lease say that as long as Prince Andrew maintains the upkeep of the property and the repairs and the renovations, then he is within the terms of the lease, and therefore it is very difficult to remove him or for him to move.
Prince Andrew is being stripped of his prince title. But why now? Buckingham Palace said the king has today initiated a formal process, and his younger brother will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He gave up his other titles earlier this month, including the Duke of York, after facing questions about his private.
Behind the iron gates of Royal Lodge, beyond the sweeping tree-lined drive and centuries-old stone walls, a world existed that few truly understood. To the public, it was a residence rooted in history, tradition and ceremony, a symbol of continuity within the grand expanse of the Windsor estate. Yet, according to former staff, the reality inside was far more intricate, a delicate web of protocol, control and tension, where every detail mattered.
Yeah, so Tom Quinn's released this really kind of humorous book in a way, talking about, the lives of the staff at the palaces. What is it really like being, a maid or a butler to a member of the royal family? And unsurprisingly, some of the kind of crazy stuff in there was about the staff who work for the Duke of York.
For decades, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson maintained an unconventional arrangement. Though legally divorced, they continued living under the same roof, projecting a veneer of harmony and civility. The couple became known worldwide as the happiest divorced pair, a curious blend of shared history and personal loyalty. But beneath the carefully curated public image, Royal Lodge was governed by structure and precision that left little room for error or spontaneity. Staff members have described a home where routine was sacrosanct.
There were some really funny things in there. We've known this before, that he is obsessed with teddy bears. He has 40 teddy bears that have to be assembled and arranged perfectly. Staff are given a chart to arrange Prince Andrew's teddy bears on his bed every day.
Every object had its designated place. Every action, from serving breakfast to aligning shoes, carried weight. Small deviations were noticed immediately, and the consequences, while often subtle, reinforced the importance of consistency. To the untrained eye, these were mere quirks, eccentricities of a royal household. But for those living and working within Royal Lodge, these routines were a test of attentiveness, discipline and survival. Prince Andrew, once the formally styled Duke of York, was known for his exacting standards. Former aides have described him as meticulous, sometimes mercurial, and demanding of absolute adherence to his preferences. His moods could shift with little warning, oscillating between warmth and abrupt criticism. The tension this created shaped the culture of the household, instilling caution in staff and a constant awareness that perfection was not optional. Among the more talked about routines was his collection of teddy bears. Dozens of plush toys, dressed in carefully chosen outfits, were reportedly arranged on his bed according to a precise diagram. Staff were expected to follow strict instructions on their order, positioning and size. To outsiders, it might appear whimsical, even humorous. To insiders, it was emblematic, a signal of the household's overarching demand for control, order, and meticulous attention to detail. The daily life within Royal Lodge revolved around protocol layered upon protocol. Clothes folded in a particular way, personal items placed just so. Meals timed and served with precision. Even seasoned staff members found that improvisation was rarely tolerated, and a minor lapse could trigger silent tension or quiet disapproval. Over time, this created an atmosphere where anxiety and vigilance coexisted with loyalty and service. While Prince Andrew's temperament defined much of the household, Sarah Ferguson added complexity to the dynamic. In her early royal years, she was celebrated for her warmth, approachability, and vivacious energy. Staff initially found her friendly and engaging, a contrast to her husband's formality. But as the years passed and public scrutiny intensified, particularly around financial controversies, Ferguson's demeanour reportedly shifted. Insiders describe moments of vulnerability, bursts of emotion under stress, and a deep awareness of the constant gaze of the media and royal observers. Yet even then, she often acted as a mediator within the household, smoothing tensions and bridging divides. Their bond, though unconventional, remained underpinned by shared history, loyalty, and an unspoken interdependence. The children of this union, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, observed these dynamics closely. They grew up in an environment of both privilege and strict regulation, witnessing the pressures of public life and the demands of household hierarchy. Today, both have forged paths distinctly separate from the turbulence surrounding their parents, embracing careers, family, and personal identities beyond the shadow of royal lodge. Yet the imprint of the household's structure and intensity remains part of their upbringing, a lesson in both resilience and caution. As the years advanced, the stability of royal lodge began to erode. Scandals surrounding Prince Andrew, particularly those of public and legal consequence, chipped away at the protective veneer of royal privilege. Titles were relinquished, official duties rescinded, and the once unquestioned influence of the House of York was diminished. The residence that had long symbolized continuity and security was suddenly a stage where uncertainty loomed. Plans for relocation signaled more than a shift in address. They marked the closing of an era steeped in tradition and authority. For Sarah Ferguson, the stakes were deeply personal. Royal Lodge had represented a final tether to royal life, a place of identity, familiarity, and belonging. Its potential loss meant confronting life beyond the safety net of ceremony, protocol, and inherited status. The home that once sheltered both she and Andrew, and by extension their family, was now a reminder of change, of the impermanence of power, and the fragility of reputation. The House of York itself stands at a crossroads. Once prominent and influential, it now navigates public skepticism, scrutiny, and diminished authority. Where eccentricities were once tolerated as quirks of personality, they are now reassessed under a harsher lens. Actions, habits, and reputations are no longer cushioned by status. What seemed permanent has revealed itself to be fleeting, leaving a household once defined by control and continuity to reckon with the passage of time. Behind the walls of Royal Lodge, the story is one of paradox. Power and privilege provided comfort and insulation, yet they also amplified isolation, pressure, and expectation. The routines, the meticulous order, and even the whimsical rituals of teddy bears spoke to larger themes of authority and control, and of the subtle, pervasive stress that accompanies life at the uppermost tiers of society. As Andrew and Sarah step into separate chapters of life, the gates of Royal Lodge close not just on an address, but on an era, a period defined by loyalty, controversy, privilege, and eventual decline. The estate itself remains grand, its walls still commanding, yet the certainty it once represented has faded. The narrative of Royal Lodge, once a sanctuary, now a symbol, reflects the broader story of the House of York. A tale of influence, resilience, and the inescapable passage of time. What was once private is now public. What once seemed unshakable now feels precarious. Time has revealed the delicate balance between perception and reality, between privilege and accountability. And as history looks back on the House of York, the question remains: will it remember resilience, adaptation, and endurance, or the slow, inevitable unravelling that played out behind closed doors? Royal Lodge, with its sweeping lawns, stately facades, and echoing corridors, will endure physically. But the life it once contained, the rituals and routines that gave it character, the personalities and tensions that animated it, all of these belong to a chapter now closed. In the end, the grandeur may remain, but the certainty, the control, and the comfort once taken for granted have quietly dissipated, leaving behind a narrative of complexity, caution, and the unyielding march of time.